So we both have a quick story about adoration. And very simply, adoration is adoring Christ in the Eucharist. And it can be done quietly, it can be done with music, it can be done in outward prayer. And it is absolutely breathtaking, wonderful, awesome. It's amazing the wisdom that's spoken to you in the silence. And I recommend it for everyone. So Liz went to CHIRP. How long ago?
So I was trying to think about this. I think it's been about 13 years ago. I did CHIRP, and I am a cradle Catholic, and I have never even heard of adoration. It was my very first experience, like 23 years old or something like that. That's pathetic. Mm-hmm. But anyway, so this is kind of a funny story. So at nighttime, they make you sleep in this little room with all these women, all ages, sizes, shapes, whatever. And so there's a lot of women that were like snoring really, really loud. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how I need to get some sleep. And
nothing like a snoring woman.
And it was before I had kids, so I didn't know how to deal with the lack of sleep thing. So anyways, I decided to take my sleeping bag and go and sleep outside of the Adoration Chapel. And so I had my first adoration experience that day, so prior to sleeping outside of the chapel. So I put my sleeping bag down and I lay down and I'm laying there and I'm praying, and I had this great sense of love. I have never felt like that in my whole life. Just God's love pouring down upon me, like holding me tight, and I had goosebumps, and it was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced in my whole life. So that was my first real experience with adoration.
Well, I think to gain the most, to give the most and receive the most out of adoration, you have to believe. You have to believe that Christ is truly present. If you do believe, it means everything. And to be quite honest, sometimes my belief is weak, and sometimes my belief is strong. And when I go into adoration, I pray, Lord, I believe, help my unbelief. Mm-hmm. And every time I leave, I just know he's there. I know he's present, and I know he's there. And I don't dwell on what I can't understand. I try to listen to what he wants me to hear. So for me, when my wife asked me to start going to adoration, to consider going to adoration at Holy Trinity, I said, sure, absolutely. Opportunity for quiet, and in our house it is not quiet. Mm-hmm. And it's an opportunity to think. It's an opportunity to ask God a lot of questions. It's an opportunity to listen. And it's an opportunity to be with him one-on-one in the most beautiful place you can possibly imagine here on earth, which is in church.
And from being the spouse and seeing him going every week, I've seen greater peace, a better sense of reliability, or relying on God rather than himself. And I know with me, with 6 littles, we go to adoration too, but I haven't had the joy of having too much of the quiet, peaceful adoration. We have to figure out how we've done that. So a lot of times I have my 6 littles, and it's about 10-15 minutes, and teaching them how to pray before the Eucharist and trying to teach them the real presence of the Eucharist. And something that was really helpful for me when the girls were going through First Communion, Father Mike gave them this book. It's called The Little Catechism on the Eucharist. And in there is a ton of stories about Eucharistic miracles. And that's something that was really helped enhance my belief, was to read these scientific, because we nowadays have to know prove everything, the real presence of Jesus. And I know that Father Mike talked about this recently in the Mass, also told a story. It was just amazing and fantastic and awesome. So I hope you all have the opportunity to take the opportunity. I challenge you to take the opportunity to go to adoration and spend that time with them and love the Lord. It's a good place to learn. It's the closest you can be to heaven here on earth.
God bless you all.